everyone. Before I begin today's video, I just want to let you know about a documentary that is streaming now on Amazon. It is called Lethal Nationalism and is about the Greek genocide that occurred in the 20th century. So a lot of people don't know about this genocide that occurred by the Turks against the Greeks. So I highly recommend that you go watch this documentary that you can stream on Amazon called Lethal Nationalism. I'll link it in the description box below. Go watch it. In this video, we are talking about cultural appropriation of Hellenism. And yeah, because that happens a lot. Cultural appropriation is something that occurs within pagan circles. To some degree or another, it does occur. It can be controversial to talk about this subject in pagan circles because they don't think you can appropriate from Greek people, but you can. Especially when you appropriate the language to legitimize your agendas. And this happens on the right and on the left. On the right and on the left. I get those always mixed up. This happens. You'll see it all the time, particularly in right-wing politics. Molon Labe is appropriated by Second Amendment rights advocates, people who are all about their guns. They think their guns are going to be taken away from them, and so they appropriate Leonidas's Molon Labe, what he says to Xerxes, to come take the weapons when they're demanded to be surrendered. And so a thing that is very important to Greek people and our sense of freedom is appropriated by white Americans with their gun rights. And they do this to legitimize themselves, to latch on to anything that gives them cultural legitimacy in their political agenda. That's the right wing. This also occurs on the left wing within pagan circles as well, with things like the Xenia Declaration, whereas the pagans like to say Xenia incorrectly, as they butcher all Greek words. The Xenia Declaration is appropriation of Greek language because, again, it is people who aren't Greek looking to take things from Greek culture, the Greek language, Greek practices, things like our sense of hospitality, and then turning that into something that they can rally behind in some sort of political thing. And it's the same thing. So the content isn't a problem. So, you know, people will think like, oh, how could Angela be against the Xenia Declaration? It's for a good thing. Yeah, I have no problem with the content and the context of the declaration. I just think it is still cultural appropriation. So what exactly is it? It says here, this is a declaration in a similar spirit to Declaration 127 in modern heathenry, except for those of us who are modern Greek polytheists. Individuals, groups on social media, and Hellenic pagan polytheistic organizations are encouraged to add their own signature to the support. The hope is that this will be an international effort for all diverse traditions and ideas among all of us. So those who subscribe to the declaration welcome, you know, all different types of people. Those who are LGBTQIA+ are welcome. Those of all gender identities, including gender fluid, non-binary, agender. That's nice because I do really, you know, I see myself as gender non-conforming. So I guess that puts me under like gender fluid, non-binary. I do fall into that category, so that's nice that they include me under that. Those are different ethnicities, races, backgrounds. Those who are neurodivergent, which is very nice because I have a learning disability. That's also nice that I should fall under the Xenia Declaration for people who are welcomed. And those who have disabilities, including mental or physical conditions, are welcome. Okay. So the content of the declaration, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Again, I fall under this declaration as a person who would be supposedly included for, as welcomed. I gender fluid. I have, learning disabilities, so that falls under like neurodivergence. So I have, there's things about me that, my, sexuality stuff, all those sorts of things. I fall under this, so I appreciate declarations like this because it applies to other people too, and it'll make them feel safe in those spaces because being safe is what's important. But the thing is, I don't like it being called the Xenia Declaration because again, it is cultural appropriation. It is taking a word and a concept out of its environment and turning it into something for someone else's agenda. If you want to make an inclusion policy online, just call it an inclusion policy, or if you want to, give it a fancy name for your community, just call it the Pagan Pax. I don't know, just call it the Pagan Pact, the Pagan Pact, or the Pagan Agreement, or just like the Pagan Inclusion declaration. Why Xenia? Oh, because we're Greek polytheists. Kala. Not so, and then when people don't want to sign that and they go, oh, they're a suspect for not signing it. They're a suspect. No, they're not suspect because they don't need to sign onto some bullshit declaration that you made online for what, attention? No one gives a fuck about your declaration, okay? Like, seriously, you don't need a fucking declaration. I'm a Greek. We don't do declarations like that. We actually do the thing where if I want to include people, I fucking include them. If I want to make a safe space for someone, I make a safe space for someone. I don't need to sign someone's stupid declaration online to make me feel like I'm part of a group thing, a movement online. Like, please, it's such bullshit. It's such bullshit. And the other thing that's bullshit about it is that you take a Greek word out of its context and you make it the Xenia Declaration, then you go on your Twitter page and you make fun of Greek people, you mock a Greek person, you mock their heritage, and then you also, the people who created the Xenia Declaration have a Facebook group that is a hotbed for anti-Hellenism, that misrepresents Greek history in it and says all sorts of dumb shit. So it's appropriation, and it's just so inappropriate to call it the Xenia Declaration when you are hostile to Greek people and to the Greek culture, and you just want to use it for your own ends, which is to legitimize yourself. So for me personally, things like Major Taylor Greene wearing the Molon Labe mask and this Xenia Declaration is the same type of appropriation. It's appropriation to legitimize one's own political agenda outside of the context of the culture and the environment that word or phrase comes out of. Okay, so this Xenia Declaration has nothing to do about Hellenism. It's all about the people who created it wanting to look good and wanting to think that they're doing something great, and it's just it's silly. It's silly. Like the content, nothing wrong with the content. It's just the execution of this and how they appropriate the language, and it's just it's really funny. It's really funny. So thank you for watching, everyone.